Main point of view.
Oh, I like
I'm
that.
like, well, that's where are you in the general context of things? Like if you take a child, I use the example of a child learning to tie their shoes, right? So you go from unconscious incompetence to, doing something at an effortless level. I cannot have a consultative conversation with a 3-year-old on how to tie their shoes. I may as well go fly a kite. Well, hey, Sally, what's your point of view on tying your shoes? What? I've got shoes. So, but at some point, they do develop a point of view. And that's why with this one young lady, I don't know, we've been there's just a point where the conversation changed. You go, oh, I know exactly what you mean about a point of view now.
Wow. Yeah, that's something. I like that because they're a lot of times, I guess, agnostic. They're just looking at problems at such a level
Yeah.
that they don't really have a point of view because that's all they've ever done has been putting fires out. So when they finally get engaged enough to to understand what the roots of these problems are, and then get a philosophy of how to address these root problems, they can have a point of view of this is my game plan and
Well,
my
this
involvement, my
this
responsibility, maybe.
and you've opened up a whole nother element of Pandora's box, because what's happening with we have some of the best educated people we've ever had, right? But in a formalized education system, or the way our schools, you're given the problem to solve. Solve this problem. Use this information to solve that problem, and here's the answer. You're gauged. You're given the problem, the solution. You get a grade.
Okay.
Well, so much of reality in life in general, nobody specifies the problem for you, and oftentimes you find people, well, what are we trying to solve here? Well, we're working on, what are you working on? And when you get to that point, I've been in situations where they've had improvement objectives going on literally for 5 years,
Mm.
and they didn't know what problem they were looking to solve. They had made assumptions, but it took
Yeah.
it took a consultant coming in from Japan to say, no, you don't understand what 5-day inventory means. But and what they thought, it was 5 days in each department. No, 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 no. It's 5 days in total across your entire business.
Right. Right.
But
Because they're
that's
looking at the problem through a magnoscope instead of a binocular.
Yeah, and then when you get to there's some things that are very cathartic once you onboard them. So one for me is decision authority.
Mm.
Do you have decision authority? And if you don't, that doesn't mean you can just obfuscate and run. But if I can't, I have zero decision authority over what type of car you drive or where you live. I have none. It's up to you. I might have some influence on that, but
Okay.
I don't have decision authority. Now, he or she or whomever has decision authority also should be the one that's defining the problem.
Mm.
So if you've assigned or got your people or teams working on something and you have decision authority, but you didn't define the problem for them, you better look back in the mirror and say, well, I can see why they're confused, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. No clear direction, and they don't know which way to march. And so they all have a different perspective. And I find it too helpful when you realize that your clients have the heartbeat of your clientele too. So when you're not asking them questions about what your clients would face, what they're hearing back from the clients and stuff, you're just thinking, well, I know better than the clients. You're probably losing some valuable information there too.
100%. And it's, I'm working with a lot of clients globally, learning how to engage with them. And one of the things that I had to change, like, the slight edge advantage that you talk about, one of the things that I understood, early on, or started to learn, is people say, oh, you need to manage the client's expectations. Don't even try that one, buddy. You cannot manage anyone's expectations, let alone your own. But what you can do is to align with their expectations. And it cycles back on top of, well, what project are we working on? And oftentimes you find, well, the people that bought the project or whatever, they left 2 or 3 years. Some projects take a long time, the sales cycle. So the people that that determined the contracts, ring fenced everything. Now you've got the contract in your hands to deliver it. Well, you're working with people who had nothing. So people don't know what the project is. They don't know what the terms were, and so you get into this tail chasing event. But
Wow.
learning early on to align with the client's expectations is one. The other one that came through the school of hard knocks, it's back around decision authority and problem solving, is it's darn near impossible, if not absolutely impossible, for me to care more about the outcome with the client than the client does.
Mm, yeah, it's true. And that's a big one.
Once you onboard that one, you can sleep a whole lot better.
Right. Yeah, when you come to grips with that.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's not complicated, right? These
But we
things.
make everything complicated, right? We
Yes.
can.
Yeah.
I'm
So
guilty. I'm guilty of that. When we were doing introductions, I work with one of the large consulting houses, but we'd all got together in a big room, a bunch of us meeting for the first time, and you had to describe yourself. And we went around. I said, "Hey, I'm simply complexicated." I lived in South Carolina, so I can make up words for a while. And this other guy said, "No, you're just full of it, man. That's
yeah,
all you are."
I got a guy, Dave Bricker, who always says, anytime you ask him something, he says, definitely maybe. So
I was
Todd White with Clear Peg. So a lot of people are listening to this and not reading this. They're driving in their car, jogging on their path. It's
right.
Clear Peg, very simple spelling. Todd White, very simple spelling. And
Yeah.
it's Todd with two D's at clearpeg.com, or go to clearpeg.com to learn more about what we're talking about here. But
Right.